Created this course as a kind of starting point for the Aligned and Wealthy as Fuck 19-week course. And so this pre-course, it'll give you a lot of information about, the chakras and how the chakras kind of work for you, as well as things that you can start to take away to be able to use it in your real life and real life situations. So this is just a space where it creates a new way to build businesses while living aligned with your purpose. And so the reason why I kind of got into this is because part of my personal journey was I felt like at a certain point in my life, I got so bogged down with the draining energy at work that I forgot to dig into my spiritual self and give emphasis to my spirit and allow it to flourish as it should have been. And so once I left that job, hey Tiffany, welcome on. Once I left that job, I made it like my duty to, by all means, stay grounded in my spirituality and then let everything else kind of shape around it. And so I wanted to, because I know, like one first thing is we aren't able to gather as much as we used to before this coronavirus broke out. So I wanted to create a space where we could come together, build together, interact together, heal together, and learn about the chakras together. So that's why I created the 19-week version of it. But this particular space is just that, again, that introduction to how the chakras work, the breakdown of them, and what you can get from it. So the Wealth Tea was created off of the idea of this acronym that I created so that I could make sure that I was balancing my life and making sure that my energy was directed in the right areas, because I've, so around just people who were in a space where we were new to learning about money and learning about the ability to have money in abundance. And so a lot of the conversations were, geared around personal development, but it wasn't like a practice of kind of for me to understand, how do I do all of this? How do I get and run towards a lot of money? How do I also build, for my family, making sure that I'm not leaving my family behind? All of these questions that I had. So I created this idea of the acronym WEALTH, where I use the wheel of life, which is just every area of your life that you should always be making sure that you're checking in on, and use that as a way for me to kind of keep track of my progress in life. And so I broke wealth down as wisdom, ethereal, and atomic, location, township, and heart. And so I started to use that, and then it was wealth ownership before it became wealth tea. And so I started to use that as a way to track my progress in all of these areas of my life, to be able to make sure that while I'm in pursuit of the riches, I'm also paying attention to making sure my family's good, making sure my community's good, making sure I'm in alignment with where I need to be in life, etc. And so they kind of helped me as a compass, in a sense, for me to be able to focus on a total well-being as I'm pursuing wealth. And so with me leaving my job in February 2019, I took time to kind of go within, relearn who Kristen was, get back in tune with the person that God created me to be, and get into like my innate abilities and things that I was born to do and to get into. And so in the midst of me rediscovering myself, the pandemic hit. And so I started to notice how more and more people were into relearning about health and what it really meant to be healthy. And in the midst of that, I was also in the midst of launching a YouTube page with my sister, with the mindset that I want to make money on everything that I enjoy doing. And so originally I was looking for tea companies to sponsor me and my sister's YouTube channel. And then I decided, like, well, instead of spending the energy, asking for others to sponsor me, I was already into herbal teas. Why not create the tea company myself? And so that's where the Wealth Tea was kind of birthed. It's been doing great since. And I'm just excited about the ability to share that same philosophy of let's run towards total well-being instead of just focusing on the riches part or the money part of wealth. So the outline for today, we'll go over each chakra again. So the root chakra conversation again, like this is just the opening conversation to to this outline, and later on it'll be deeper and delved into deeper with the full course. But the root chakra, will be talking about the redefining your way of life and trauma forgiveness. The sacral chakra is regaining your power and learning how to direct your energy. The solar plexus is facing your ego and regaining your willpower. The heart chakra space is rediscovering and honing in on your passion. The throat chakra, leveling up your communication skills. Third eye, getting clear on your next level and your higher self. And then the crown chakra will be about defining divinity. So the first chakra in our chakra system. So this is the root chakra. And with the root chakra, it's a space of security. It's how do you see yourself in this world in regards to security? How grounded are you in regards to your relationship with Mother Earth and the world and, the physical world that we live on? This space, the energy placement is, in a sense, it's in an upward motion. So it's going into so I don't know how to explain it, but it goes like the energy goes up versus like you'll see with the other chakras, like the energy is like kind of in and out your body per se. But this one kind of goes into your root chakra. So coming from the ground up, and there's like a little flow. So it goes in that direction. And it's, as you see, emphasized by the color red. And so with this space, this is all about you, again, your security, your survival sense, and how you kind of show up in the world. And I'm going to kind of break down each one as either, how they show up in regards to being overactive, underactive, and then balance. The portion in which I want everyone to kind of focus on is how to notice when your chakras are in balance or out of balance, so that we can, at the end of it, when I start to give out the tools that you can use on a daily basis, to get into what you can do when you feel like your chakras are out of alignment and how to get it back into balance. So, hey, welcome everyone who's hopping in. So the root chakra. So the overactive portion of the root chakra can show up as you being in the space of fearfulness, feeling anxious, insecure about your well-being and how tomorrow will be, irritable, greedy, or stuck and complacent. Typically, like greedy is like the opposite of everything else, where you're insecure about not having enough, or not being able to feed yourself, or not being able to clothe yourself, and not having somewhere to sleep. So it becomes overactive, where you're anxious, you're worried, you're in and out of a place of comfort. And so the greedy part comes into play, where some people become hoarders because they feel like, or they've had a situation where they've felt anxious in the past about their security, and they chose to overindulge in certain things to make sure that they never hit that spot again. That's also an unhealthy space. So it's finding, again, that balance. And so the underactive portion of this root chakra is you've been in this space of feeling nomadic, like not having a place to call home, like feeling like you have somewhere comfortable to sleep at night, no matter what's going on in your life. Feeling anxious again, codependent on others, disconnected from the world, like not being able to connect to your roots, and who you are and whose you are, and an inability to focus, again, because you're so worried about either your future or your past that you can't be present and deal with your present self. The balance space that I would love for everyone to be in, that the goal is to strive for, is to kind of be in a space where you are aware of your ability to survive. Like, we've been through things in life and we tend to always get through it every time. So it's being able to have that level of security, no matter how hard you have it right now, or no matter where you are in life, to understand that you can prevail. That Mother Earth has a sense of care for your life, particularly, that she will always provide for you for whatever you need, whenever you need it. And it's just allowing yourself to be in a space where you trust in Mother Nature, trusting yourself, and also being able to trust others. The other part is having a space where you feel stable and secure. And that's in all areas of your life. So with these chakras, they can show up in every area of that idea of wealth. So remember, the wealth part of wealth T is broken down as wisdom, ethereal, anatomic, location, township, heart. So in each one of these areas, your chakras will show up differently. So in regards to your security, let's say for your root chakra, with the, let's say, the wisdom part of your root chakra. So you may, trying to think of how to break it down. So this is the first time me trying to use this example. But so basically, like, all right, so you have these different areas of your life. With the root chakra, again, like, it's about security and how secure you are, or how you feel about your ability to survive in life. And so with the wisdom part of it, the wisdom part of wealth for me is that space of being able to constantly learn, constantly progress, constantly to grow our mind. So with that, like, your root chakra can be great. Like, you could be reading a book every day or taking time to learn something new every day, so you feel secure in your ability to learn and grow wiser. You see that you are taking action that you like, you've learned from your mistakes. Like, that's a way to kind of see that you are balanced in your root chakra in regards to the wisdom portion of wealth. So let's say anatomic, an unbalanced anatomic, which is your physical body, the A part of the wealth, is you overindulging in certain things that are unhealthy for you, whether it's fast food, like making the choice of eating unhealthy because you may save $1 or $2 versus eating healthy and spending the extra buck. So that's like just kind of like how your root chakra can show up balanced and unbalanced in certain areas of your life. So it's important to understand that these chakras show up differently depending on the environment that you're in. So each one I kind of gave a quote that kind of resonated for me and how the chakras work and show up in my life. And so this one I chose: forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself. A huge part of the root chakra is the fact that our root chakra is the first chakra in our chakra system that is activated upon us showing up in our mom's womb. And so upon this activation, we're transfer energy. One is the energy of the gifts that are passed along from our ancestry, and the other part is the trauma that's also passed on from our ancestry, because we are energy and feeling beings. So anything that our moms, our grandmoms, our grandfathers went through, typically it will be passed on to us if it was not solved and fixed and worked on before they passed on, and it's then passed through us in upon our birth. And so that's where I came up with this quote of being able to get to a space of forgiveness, because when we are in a space where trauma is controlling our lives, sometimes it's hard to forgive, ourselves for allowing it to impact us, for forgiving the other person who may have caused us to be in a space of, being in a traumatic situation. And that's so important for us to be able to feel secure, is when we can be able to forgive, it's the idea of forgive but never forget, but being able to at least forgive yourself, forgive the roles of the other people that may have been played in that situation, to be able to grow and get to our next levels and continue to progress. And again, like Maya Angelou says, it's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Like, forgiveness is not for anyone else but for you to heal and for you to have a light heart as you move through this world. And so this is one of the crystals that can be used in channeling your energy when you feel like you have a blockage in your root chakra. If you don't already know about crystals, they are simply elements from Earth that have certain energies that you can use to focus on them. And you can pull the energy from that crystal to be able to assist you in unlocking certain things within yourself. The sacral chakra is our second chakra in our chakra system. So we have a lot of chakras, but the main 7 that have the most impact on us are these particular 7 that I'm going over today. And so with the sacral chakra, this is a space, as you see, it's emphasized by the color orange. And so with this powerful color comes the powerful energy of our sexuality and creativity in life. And so the way that these two come together is through the ability to give birth. And it could be the space of giving birth to an actual person by having a child, or it can be giving birth to a business. It could be giving birth to a new chapter in your life. It could be giving birth to a song, a dance routine, a poem, a business plan, a book. So all of these different areas is just the space of being able to use your creative energy and your sexual energy to give birth and give life to something, sometimes tangible, sometimes intangible. So this is an extremely powerful, they're all like, they all have their role and their placement, but this is definitely powerful for us to be able to move into a space of just fulfillment. In a sense, this chakra is definitely here for our pleasure. Literally, it is big on our pleasure space and just being able to move towards pleasure and how we pleasure ourselves. That could be, unfortunately, with this chakra coming right after our root chakra, which again is sometimes overindulged by trauma. We could become addicted to things that pleasure us to avoid the pain that the trauma has done to ourselves, and our inability to cope with the trauma. So it's so important for us to do that root chakra work, to work through the pain, work through the suffering, and to give life to the gifts that have been passed on to us, so that when we get to our sacral chakra and we need to pull out our energy, our creative juices, that we don't have any blockages. We don't, go to sex just because we're aroused. Like sometimes you can use that aroused energy to sit down and write a whole book. Like it's a powerful energy that could give surges again to you just being able to give birth to something. So it's so important for us to be able to channel that energy if we're not looking to have a child, to reuse that energy and redirect that energy in order for us to create things that this world could use. And we have so many gifts in us. Again, that root chakra, the gifts that are within us need to be birthed. And that's what that sacral chakra does. So the overactive space with the sacral chakra is you being overindulgent, overly emotional. This is a space of feeling, being able to tie into your emotions. So if you're overactive, you become overly emotional, sometimes incapable of expressing your emotions because there's so many, or it's just so much that sometimes it become overwhelming. Sometimes extremely extroverted, where you're dependent on other people to keep you balanced, in a sense, to keep you avoiding certain things like being alone by yourself, and the things that kind of come up when we are in alone spaces. And it also could be a deep dependence on other people. The underactive sacral chakra is you in a space where you may lack a sexual drive, because we become disconnected. Unfortunately, if you're like me, my mother did not teach me about my vagina. So it was a disconnect from the feelings that my vagina had, the energy that she has. So I had to regain that as an adult and really learn to reconnect um, my reproductive system to who I am and my spiritual world as well. So definitely, some of the times that we will see when there's an underactive sacral chakra, there is lack of sexual drive because of the disconnect. Sometimes the low self-esteem can show up in this area, lack of emotions as well, lack of passion about life, and a lack of an ability to create and be creative. The balance space with your sacral chakra can be you pretty much experiencing healthy emotions, being able to express yourself in a healthy way, you having healthy and attracting healthy relationships, you being healthy in your sexuality. That's, just could be as simple as using a condom if you're, being risky a little bit. It's the simple thing sometimes. Healthy sex talk, you being able to actively create on demand. Like, let's say you're at work and there's a project due, something that you've never done working before, but you've been able to bring out that energy to create what you need to create on demand. Again, healthy sexual life as well as healthy reproductive system. So the quote for this particular chakra is, once you have uncovered the secret of mastering sexual energy, you will feel a peace that you may have never known. And that is so, so, so true. There's a whole study called sexual transmutation that gives a breakdown. Okay. That gives a breakdown of how millionaires have been able to use this energy to redirect their focus, to be able to unlock projects, to go and start businesses, and just using the energy of their sexuality to redirect it, instead of just using it to have sex and pleasuring yourself. It becomes that space of getting things done instead. So this is the crystal for this. So definitely being able to use this crystal to guide you to unlocking your energy. Again, this is when you're experiencing blockages. You want to be able to use this crystal to give you energy and to help you unfold the energy that may be blocked in your sacral chakra. The solar plexus chakra. This is our third chakra in our chakra system. Excuse me. Yeah. So the solar plexus is colored, emphasized by the color yellow. And so this is a space with three identities. One is the ego, the second is wisdom, and the third is willpower. And so with the ego space, with our solar plexus chakra, it's high on the importance of us being able to define ourselves and getting to a point where we know ourselves in and out. Like, ego does not have to be this negative idea of an image of self. It literally is what you make it, and can work for you in so many ways. Because your ego can guide your ability to feel confident in areas of focus. It could definitely give you a space where you can assert yourself in certain things, and just being able to know who you are can help you to avoid going down rabbit holes that you don't necessarily need to go down. Being able to define yourself for yourself and understanding what that looks like. The other thing with the solar plexus chakra and it being in the space of ego is the fact that typically when we are birthed, the idea of our ego is being built upon the perspective of other people on us. Like, it's how the doctors are responding to us, how our parents are responding to us, and then from there it goes into how the world is responding to us, teachers, other classmates. So at a young age, our perspective of who we are is based on the perspective of how we've seen others interact with us. So I apologize. So the second area of your solar plexus chakra is your space of wisdom. Our stomachs are known as our second brain. And so with this being the area of our second brain, like, you've seen and heard that idea of gut instincts or having those butterflies in your stomach, that's where your solar plexus in the space of wisdom shows up. It's literally your brain thinks. It's your second brain. So it helps to guide you in certain ways of life, to kind of help you get towards your destiny. Which one did I miss? Willpower. So willpower is also the solar plexus chakra. And with the willpower, this is a space just like your root chakra is I am, your sacral chakra is I feel, your solar plexus chakra is I do. So it's action oriented. So when you have a space where your sacral chakra is all about pleasure and pleasure and pleasure and pleasure, it's so important for your solar plexus to have that balanced space where it can have that willpower to say, yep, I'm going to eat half of this ice cream pint and leave the other half for tomorrow. It's being able to allow you to have the discipline that you need to get things done, to not be overindulgent, to still have that progressive state and that progressive drive within you. And so when your solar plexus chakra is overactive, you can be in a space where you're controlling, you're aggressive, manipulative, obsessive, critical, as well as sometimes stubborn. Because you know, with that ego, when it's overly elevated, it knows everything. Like, you know everything. You don't need any help. You don't need any assistance. You don't want to hear from anyone else. So you become stubborn, critical, thinking you know everything, judgmental sometimes as well. So you want to make sure that that space is healthy. The underactive space of your solar plexus chakra is you may be extremely passive, allowing people to walk over you, indecisive, lack of control. Lack of purpose in life as well, low self esteem, and insecurities. The balance space that we all want to strive to get to with this solar plexus chakra is you being able to take responsibilities for your life, being able to understand that we all play a role in how a situation turns out. Because again, like we've all heard the quote that it's not about the situation, it's about how you respond to the situation. And so that's a healthy space that we want when it comes to our solar plexus chakra, is being able to respond in a conscious space that identifies with the person that we are and the person that we are becoming. So we don't want to respond to certain things based on our past hurts and our past pains. We want to grow to a point where our identities are so secured and so stable and so grounded, um, that we're able to be present in our interactions and in our responses to other people. Um, what's another? A balance, solar plexus chakra. Um, being goal oriented, definitely being like, you know, the to-do list person who gets things done. Like, you don't necessarily have to write things down, but knowing that when there's a project to be done, that you're able to make the plans, be strategic, have the discipline to make sure that it gets done. All right. So the quote for this particular chakra is, you learn who you are by unlearning who they taught you to be. And so again, this is so important as where our ego is, to understand that our ego again is birthed by the perspective of other people. But it's important that we get to a point where we start to redefine ourselves for who God wants us to be, and whoever, you know, whatever title you give God. But it's important that we have that inner talk to understand that certain titles that were given to us upon birth, certain labels, may not be necessary in the person that we are becoming today. So it's so important to that we, like snakes, we shed old skin, dead certain things, and let certain things go as we continue to develop and unlearn who they taught us to be, so that we can learn who we really are. Again, like this is just a crystal that will help you to energize your solar plexus chakra. Excuse me. My back is tight. I'm sitting down for so long. The heart chakra. So we're kind of moving pretty quickly through this. Hope you guys are still vibing with me. So the heart chakra, as you see, is emphasized by the color green. And this is your space of love and healing. This is just space, like, you know, so we have the root chakra where it's I am, the sacral chakra, I feel, the solar plexus chakra, I do, the heart is I love. So it's huge on your love and healing space. You being able to give love and receive love unconditionally, and you being able to use your heart to heal through anything. Literally, you can heal with love, a physical aspect of your body. Like, let's say, you know, you get a cut on your finger, you literally can give love to your finger, encourage it, and it will heal faster than if you just ignored it. So it's so important that we tap into that power that we have within us, especially you know, with the powers that the love can create. Yeah. The overactive space with the heart chakra can be. My apologies. I should put my phone. I thought my phone is on to do not disturb. I apologize. So the overactive space with your heart chakra is being in the space where you can, or you may be too attached emotionally, over absorbed in relationships, too compassionate, too accommodating sometimes on what others need over what you need, protective as well as jealous. The underactive space of your heart chakra can look like a lack of self esteem, um unable to express your feelings in a healthy way, oblivious, naive sometimes, defensive, just trying to guard your heart, being the victim and playing the victim role, lacking self-love and fear of intimacy as well. The balance space where your heart chakra can show up and just flourish in, looks like you being able to take time to love and heal yourself, before you take the time to love and heal others. And of course, some of it can happen simultaneously, but it's so important that we put ourselves first. Part of my beliefs, is that the flow of life is always God, family, and then business or everything else. And so to me, because we are the children of God, I look at that as a simultaneous thing. Like if God birthed us, there's God within us. So when we put God first, we're also putting ourselves first and making sure that we're good to live out whatever contract we have with God. So that's the balance space of your heart chakra, is making sure that you're taking time to love yourself so that there's an overflow for you to be able to love others and do what needs to be done. Typically, this is where you're in a space of peace and joy in just about every area of your life. You've been able to acknowledge not only your earthly self, because the first three chakras are your more grounding chakras, but your heart is a gateway that opens you up to your spirituality, which we'll talk about with your throat, third eye, and crown chakra. So you see, there's a huge gap. Like imagine, between your solar plexus chakra and your heart chakra. That's the work that needs to be done for you to be able to understand and see what spirituality is. Typically, a lot of us don't learn about spirituality in this depth until adulthood. So that's the road that we have to travel in order for us to truly open up, that passage for us to live in our spiritual life and in our human existence simultaneously, and being able to walk those lines together, in a productive way. Typically, this is a space of you being able to, again, like receive love and give love unconditionally, as well as you being able to, be free of emotional triggers, or at least having a system that you need when a new trigger shows up. You're able to address it, you're able to give it space, you're able to acknowledge it, and you're able to heal it and keep moving. The two quotes, because I couldn't decide on one, is when you live with an open heart, unexpected, joyful things will happen. And that's so important because a lot, sometimes we'll get to a space where we, um, yes, that's very true, Ashley. Just to go back into Ashley stated in the chat that when your child gets hurt, they typically will feel better when you show it some love. And that's so true. Like a child would say, um, like they will be crying their eyes out, like they are, just being hurt to the top degree. You kiss the little boo boo and they feel 100% better. Love heals, literally. So Ashley, you are spot on with that. The second quote is, today I decided to forgive you, not because you apologized or because you acknowledged the pain that you caused me, but because my soul deserves peace. And again, like that root chakra space, forgiveness is for no one but yourself. It's being able to keep going no matter what you go through in life. I know, for me, particularly when I do meditations on forgiveness, majority of the time I'm not even thinking about the person who may have caused harm to me. Majority of the time I'm giving space to forgive myself for holding on to that negative energy, or for allowing certain things to have happened due to lack of knowledge, whatever, because I can't control where that other person is in their life and that decision that they made to hurt me, for instance. But what I can control is how I keep moving forward. So typically I forgive myself to give myself the freedom to uncuff myself from the pain, the torture that may have happened, so that I can continue to love unconditionally. And again, receive that love unconditionally, because love heals everything. And that's legit. That's where this nation will change, is as more of us continue to open and become free flowing with love and forgiveness. So these are one of the things with the heart chakra is it's not only emphasized by the color green, but it can also be emphasized by the color pink. And so you'll have the rose quartz as another crystal that you can add on to your healing practice to open up the flow of love in your life. It is not easy talking for an hour. The throat chakra, as you see, is emphasized by the color blue. So this is the first space of ether, your first space of spirituality and being able to communicate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Abraham Hicks, but she talks in two spaces. She shows up to the world as Esther Hicks, but then she'll channel her inner self and come out as Abraham Hicks. And so this is why, partly of why the throat chakra is a spiritual space and not a physical space in a sense. It's because our spirit and our inner selves can speak through us and show up through us through our communication. So our throat chakra is a space of awareness. Not awareness, that's a lie. That's the third eye. It's a space of expression. And so in our expression, there's two channels. There's a channel of us being able to communicate outwardly to express ourselves. And that can again, that can always show up as you speaking verbally, sharing what you need to say. That could be a body language, but that also can be in the sense of art. It could be, painting a picture to express yourself. It could be dance. It could be music. It's just all forms of art expression. But the other side to expressing in that throat chakra is our ability to listen. That is so key. We have, y'all heard it before, we have two ears and one mouth. So we technically should be listening more than we do talking, so that we can continue to have that balanced space with our throat chakra. Um, and just like the root chakra, and I stated earlier, like these chakras show up differently in different areas of our lives. So with the throat chakra, you may be great with your township, for instance, your community, being able to speak to your community and being able to speak on a level where people can feel you, because you have a deep connection with them. But let's say in the space of wisdom, like it's easy to have a conversation about, just to have a one-on-one or back and forth conversation with people that you love and care about. But with the wisdom space, when you're learning something, let's say you have to actually go out and teach it, it may get a little harder for you to be able to communicate what you need to teach, because now you're not only having to worry about what you're saying, but you want to also make sure that it's resonated. So that's a level up from just having a one-on-one conversation. So again, like these chakras can show up differently in different areas of your life. So it's constantly, it's important that we constantly work on growing, and being conscious and present as they are showing up in our lives. Because I know for me, when I get anxious about talking, sometimes like I'll get like my jaws will start getting tight. I'll start getting congestion in my throat. Like my throat would tell me when I'm getting nervous to talk. So it's important that we pay attention to those physical signals. And that's where the kind of tea comes into play, because it helps us with our physical aspect of how these chakras align with our bodies. The overactive throat chakra is a space of being talkative, overly provocative sometimes. Not knowing what to say out your mouth. Y'all all heard it before, like not knowing what to say. Y'all know them people. Poor listeners, dishonesty, verbally abusive, condescending as well. Then the underactive portion of your throat chakra could be you being in a space of fear, having fears with speaking, timid voice, shy, inability to speak up for yourself and to communicate your desires and your needs. And so the balance space with your throat chakra could look like you've been able to live in your truth and your purpose. I know for me, for many years, I was in this idea that I had to juggle different hats. So I had to show up as different versions of Kristen versus just being honest about who I really was, and allowing that Kristen to flow into every area of life that I was in. So it's so important with the throat chakra to be able to live in your truth, as well as in your purpose. Like your heart space can also resonate with your passions and what are you passionate about in life. So with that being right before your throat chakra, it's your throat chakra pushing you to be able to be in a space where you are living out and expressing what you're passionate about. Um, you've been able to articulate and command, being assertive in your conversations, being assertive in your areas of life that you desire to be. Um, yeah, I think that's it. The quote for this one is, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." And so you guys know, yesterday we just celebrated the holiday of Martin Luther King's birthday, which is actually um, now it wasn't yesterday; it was on the 15th. But yesterday was the day that marked the historic day to celebrate. And so, with his legacy, he was big on living out in a major way what mattered to him, which was the freedom of our people. And so, to whatever extent you have some type of passion about something, it's important that we do something about it, or our spirit gets hurt. I don't know how to kind of deeply express that, but like I'm assuming that you felt when you was quiet about something that mattered, like you felt it. You felt like you should have said something. Um, that's what this is. This is an acknowledgement that we must speak up. Sometimes we got to think about what we need to say before we say it. That's okay, but just make sure that you are pushing things that matter to you, whether it's this month is sex trafficking month. So whether that's awareness about sex trafficking, whether it's awareness about depression, whatever, if that's something that is deep on your heart, make sure you find a way to express it, because our spirits are loud and they want to be heard. So we must give it a space. So the blue agate is a crystal that definitely will assist you if you have like a big speech or presentation coming up, to help you to vocalize and get your expression out there. The third eye chakra, this is your space of awareness. So this is emphasized by the color indigo. And with the space of awareness, this is not just awareness of what you can see on the physical plane, but more so what you can see without your eyes. So typically, always, like to give the practice of, if you can close your eyes right now. I don't know, if you're in a safe environment, if you're driving, please don't. But if you can close your eyes and take a second to visualize a beach. Visualize the water, the shore, the sand under your toes, and just be at a beach right now. You literally can do it, and your mind will believe that you're there because it becomes so real. And that shows you how you can see without sight. You having that ability to have the vision further than what your eyes can physically see. That's the space of awareness, to be able to see what can't be seen, the things that are invisible to our actual eyesight, but are present and visual to our third eye, and our spiritual eye. So an overactive third eye chakra can look like you being oblivious to reality. So being able to, or not being able to connect with our humanly experience, unable to focus, unable to discern reality, overindulging in fantasies, Being in a space where you're, having nightmares, or night terrors, being delusional, obsessions, also, like hearing voices and not sure, how to discern those voices as well. The underactive third eye chakra can be you being in the space of being stubborn because you're not open to learning on a different level. You're not open to seeing things that cannot physically be seen. Typically, those are like, the scientists who are like against spirituality. But just being in a space where you're stubborn about the idea of your spiritual life, and that inner self. Feeling stuck, unwilling to learn and be taught something new, unable to discern your inner thoughts as well, lack of clarity, biased against spirituality, short term thinker, so you don't have that bigger vision, poor physical sight as well, and poor memory too. Um, I feel like it's something else that I might be missing, but that's the gist. I hope it comes back. Um, Yeah. So the balance space with your third eye chakra is you often feeling being able to feel your instincts kick in. Whether that's without being scared, but like having those spaces where you get chills and and you're able to interpret what that really means. Um, being able to tap into your gut feelings and respond accordingly. You've been able to be guided by your insight, living your life on purpose, because again, like when you have that idea that God or that spiritual life is giving you a vision, you have something better or bigger to work towards other than just having that 9 to 5 or whatever. You just give yourself something bigger and a more of a purpose, in a sense, to work towards. um, Being intuitive, you've been able to pick up on vibes of other people, been able to feel when someone energy is off. It's sometimes great when your third eye is aligned. So Ashley, honey, I think it's a lifetime journey, but in regards to, so Ashley's questions, how long does it take you to train yourself to focus without having wandering thoughts? I personally don't know if I've gotten there yet, but I've gotten better, and I've been meditating for 7 to 8 years now. But I've gotten better in regards to being able to guide myself in meditative states. And meditation doesn't even necessarily have to be like you sitting down in your meditative stance and actually silencing your brain. It could literally be a moment of taking in a deep breath, feeling present, being in tune with your body, and then letting that breath go. That literally could be your meditation. But as you're growing to kind of work through longer meditations, in a sense of being able to solve problems or see visions or get to a certain answer, typically it is all about your ability to discipline. One of the practices that I picked up on while I was learning how to meditate, and as I continue to learn, is if you do see that you have wandering thoughts, to acknowledge them, but to also to acknowledge them and just let yourself like, all right, cool. I'm gonna put this in my pocket or put this in my desk drawer or whatever, like kind of visualization you want to give yourself to like put it to acknowledge it, put it to the side, and understand that I'm still here, I'm still present in my meditation. The other visual thing that you can do is see your thoughts as a radio station and turn down the dial every time you hear your thoughts becoming louder than your meditation. So I hope that helps. The quote for this particular chakra: if you want to live an intuitive life, you have to have courage to be open to who you are. And that's important because we're not just physical beings. You have to be open to that spiritual part of you, that energy center of you, and that space that we cannot see, but we can feel it. So be open, be courageous, and protect yourself as you grow. Because with this amethyst, it's a protection crystal. Because as we're growing and learning about our spirituality, typically that's us. Um, learning how to get back to ourselves. And in the study of how the devil works, and then quote unquote the devil, negative energy, however you want to address it, um, negative energy feeds on people who lack purpose. But when we have the space where we're getting in tune with our third eye, we tend to have a bigger purpose. We tend to have more feelings towards real life things in regards to loving each other, being at peace, and those things that really matter. So those negative energies will sometimes try to attack you. So it's so important to keep an amethyst close by, and be in tune to be able to know how to protect yourself and protect your energy. The crown chakra and the final chakra. So I know we're coming up on our last 10 minutes. So I'm going to try. I know it's going to take longer. So if you have to hop out, feel free. But I'm going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. The crown chakra, as you can see, is emphasized by the color purple, but also is emphasized by the color gold and the color white. So typically in meditations, if you do guided meditations with someone that you trust, sometimes they'll tell you to see a white light coming down onto you. Sometimes they'll see, see a gold light moving through your body. Sometimes it's a purple light. So it just always depends on, the energy flow of it. But you'll hear all three of those different colors. And so this is your space of divinity. It's harder for me to explain this space because it is your experience with divinity and how you choose to define it. So I typically don't want to tell you exactly what to think about or how to see it. You want to get into a space where you can open yourself up for divinity to help you define it within. Just know that this is your space of divinity. When you're experiencing overactivity in your crown chakra, um, sometimes you're unable to connect with your physical body. Sometimes you get lost in your meditations and are unable to awaken your body in a sense. It's like a coma type stasis. Where you can't, like, it's hard for you to connect with your physical body, or even if you're in your physical body, sometimes it's hard to connect with other people because you're so far into your spirituality that you no longer see the importance of your physical well-being, and your physical purpose. Constant daydreaming, as well as being overly emotional, begin because in our spiritual life, like, emotions aren't really a thing. So that's something that's physical. That's something for our humanly bodies. So sometimes when you're overly active in your crown chakra, you forget what the hell emotions are. The underactive crown chakra can be a person who's experiencing cynicism, closed-mindedness, lack of motivation, because again, like, the idea of our third eye and having higher vision in regards to our relationship with spirit is that it gives us a higher purpose. It gives us something that we look forward to, something that we drive towards, something that encourages us. But when you lack that connection with spirit, typically you're just going through the motions. You're on that hamster wheel, just going through the days. So you can, if you see someone like that, they're probably not connected with their spirit as much as they need to be. The balanced crown chakra is you being in a state of bliss. When you are aligned, feeling balanced in your crown chakra, you're typically in a state of bliss. Sometimes, like, the other day, I was writing for a grant, and the words were just flowing, like, literally, like, my hands were just moving and it was just flowing. And so I noticed it and I just allowed it to continue to just move. So it was just like, like an energy that kind of overcame me to just keep going and to get it done. Sometimes, like, you can feel when your spirit is just taking control and, doing what it needs to do. You just sit on the back burner and let it do what it do. Excuse me. You being able to connect to your higher state of consciousness without any limitations, and knowing that anything that your mind can think of, you literally can have it on the physical form. Yeah. The quote for this particular chakra is, every morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. So this gives us the okay and the go ahead to change every day for the better. Like, no matter how people identify or knew us yesterday, it has nothing to do with the person that we'll be tomorrow. because the person that we need to be tomorrow is for our future selves. Our past is already done. Our past is already taken care of. We were that person for what we needed in the past. But give yourself the okay to change every single day, little by little, or completely change. Like literally, if you saw the movie Soul, like we have the choice to choose how we sound. Some of it is based on our structure and how our collarbone or whatever type of scientific stuff they talk about. But we can talk differently if we wanted to. We have our passive voice, we have our aggressive voices. We choose all of those things so you can allow your body to have fun with this experience and choose who you want to be each and every day based on your new knowledge of self. And your new understanding of purpose each and every day. Again, like I get messages all the time from spirit or ideas and visions. And so I have to continue to grow in order to see those visions through. So I wish the same on you as well. So this is the clear quartz. This is like kind of just a space where you can allow energy, positive energy to flow into you as you're connecting with your divinity. Woo, I need a breather. It's a lot. So we're at the final pieces of today's conversation, and these are the takeaways that I want you to use each and every day or whenever you need it. Again, it's a toolkit, and if you don't need the hammer but you need the wrench, grab the wrench. Some days you'll need the hammer and you don't need the wrench. Some days you need both. So I just want to give these to you for you to have when you need it. If you feel like your root chakra is out of alignment, it's important to get out in nature. I know it's cold nowadays, but when you can, even if you can just open your window to get fresh air, definitely get as close to nature as you can, by a tree, by large bodies of running water, natural water, and to allow yourself to flow in your mental space. Like typically, thoughts of your gifts or thoughts of trauma may come up that you want to dissect and get rid of. Allow Mother Earth to kind of give you that space to do so, and to forgive, again, to forgive in that space. But you definitely want to get out in nature as often as possible to rejuvenate your body in that way. The sacral chakra space is deep stretching yoga. This is where you can always YouTube it, but there's different yoga techniques. This one I want you to do the deep stretch. Typically it's called like not necessarily what it's called, but um definitely areas that allow you to work on your hips, like really deep stretch in your hip area, because the point of that is you'll also be doing deep breathing, so it helps to get that energy from out of that stuck space in your reproductive system and kind of flow it throughout your entire body to get it moving. The mirror work is you being able to take time in your day. Typically I do it when I'm in the shower and getting out the shower, getting dressed. But it's 3 levels to the mirror work. One is being able to take time to affirm and be grateful. Well, excuse me, it's to be grateful for what your body does for you, the physical form and the spiritual form, and just being appreciative. To me, usually I'll either do it while I'm lathering up, and just be grateful for, like, different parts of my body. Thank you that I can feel, thank you that I can touch, thank you that I can see, thank you for my feet, thank you for my legs, like all of it, as I'm lathering up, or when I'm oiling my body after getting out the shower. The second space of mirror work is being able to, again, like being in the mirror, to affirm the things that you desire to level up in with your body. That could be you being in a space where you're speaking into existence, a bigger butt. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. That's something that I don't mind getting, a flat stomach, a healthier heart, better vision. That's definitely something that I speak into existence. And just being able to speak into existence what you desire out of your life. And then the third area is the shadow work. So you talking and giving space to your darker portions of you, things that you don't like about yourself, addressing it, learning from it, and being able to step out of that space to grow and get better. The heart chakra is a space where I want you to journal to your younger selves. I want you to choose 3 different ages that stood out to you in your life, that you felt pain, or that has truly adjusted or were like a turning point in your life. Journal to that part of you and talk about it. If it's a space where you felt pain in those instances, forgive yourself and forgive all the parties that were in that space. Learn in that space of why it may have happened, but you want to get to a space where you can understand the power of growing through it and healing from it, so that it's not a trigger for you anymore. The throat chakra. Part of the throat chakra is being able to be fluid in your movements, so and in your expression. So learning how much water you need each and every day to be able to have a healthy flow of water, and then speak life into your water. Speak the love, speak care, speak healing into your water as you're drinking it. The dream for your third eye chakra is, I want you to create a habit of every night making sure that you're setting time to think about what you may need to know in order for you to show up better in your next day. You can take time to kind of analyze your day, to see what was good, see what was bad, and learn from it. And take a question out of whatever you learned or whatever you want to know, and ask that question repeatedly. I just breathed too much air. Excuse me. Ask a question that you want the answer to, and ask that repeatedly as you're dozing off to bed, so that you're allowing a space for you to be able to dream about it, or to be able to get any type of sign or answer for that space, to be able to show up and use it in your real life once you come back to your human space. And then journal it. Sometimes it'll come up in a your dream, and you're not able to right away understand what that dream meant. So journal it out. Do research, look online to kind of get other people's understanding of it, and then keep that journal so that just in case that dream comes up again, you can kind of do a comparison and see what may have happened in your life, or what question you were asking that may have led to that particular dream. The breath work is so important because you want to allow free flow of energy throughout your entire body for you to be able to better be guided by your spirit life, and give life in that space. So these are 7 additional things that you can do in every chakra to help them get balanced. So with your root chakra, you can do all 7 of these things. Sacral chakra, you do all 7. So it's like broken down that you can, like, these are just additional places and energy that you can get focused to. So food, clothing, surroundings. So, eating food that are matched with the energy of these chakras. Clothing, wear colors if you're feeling like there's a block in certain area. Wear colors that match the chakra. Your surroundings, making sure that your feng shui of your house, or the energy in your car, your energy in wherever is conducive to the energy that you want to create. Affirmation, speaking life into these different chakras. Essential oils that help to energize or relax certain chakra. Again, like, we have the space where they're overactive and underactive. So if you're having anxiety in your root chakra, maybe you want to avoid the color red, because you're already, like, if you're in a space where you're feeling greedy, maybe avoid the color red so that you can become more subtle in that space and feel more secured and stable. The meditation point, of course, you can meditate on each and every one of these particular areas of your life, and then do visualization to speak into existence what you desire out of these chakras. Oh, shoot.